Williams to tell her story. Please.
Carol, that was amazing, thanks. My name's Thuy. In 1975, around 3,000 children were saved from war-torn Vietnam in a joint endeavor to save kids known as Amerasians, children born of Vietnamese mothers and American fathers. The rescue effort was called Operation Babylift, and the first plane on the 4th of April crashed, ending the lives of 143 people. My mom actually took me up the steps of that plane, made sure I was settled, and then went home. She didn't know that the plane was overfull and I was removed from it and put on the plane the next day. She actually was told that I died on that plane. The rescued children were taken to many countries, including Germany, Australia, France, Canada, and the United States. I came out of Vietnam at the age of 5 on the Pan Am flight of 5 April 1975, which we are here to honor. When I look back on my life, I can see the biggest pivotal point of it was that plane ride. People ask me if I remember my life in Vietnam, and my answer is always yes. I remember the poverty, the hunger, and the death. The worst memory of my childhood in Vietnam was watching as people were shot to death right in front of me. Yes, I remember the plane ride, and of reading a book to my seatmate. I remember talking to a soldier as he helped me get my seatbelt on. And yes, I do remember meeting my new family for the first time. Because of that plane ride, I am alive today and flourishing. I have lived a life, as they say, well lived. I was taken to Portland, Oregon, where I grew up. My parents met my plane. Also, they were expecting a 6-month-old, not a 5-year-old. Yeah. So my parents met my plane and had only planned to be my foster parents, but they later adopted me. I grew up in a white family as a half Vietnamese and a half black child. Were there obstacles that I had to overcome because of this? Yes. But this only made me a stronger person and one who knew who she was. It also helped me to be able to counsel and mentor traumatized and hurting kids and adults because of my experiences. What are my memories of America those first 3 years? Learning to use a flush toilet, learning to fold laundry, and the best thing ever, TV. To this day, I'm a non-recovering movieaholic. My mom says I flooded the bathroom a time or two playing with this new thing called running water. And every kid's dream, pizza. I remember not being hungry, wet, or dirty for the first time in my life. I remember going to school and learning English from my classmates. And no, not all the words were good. I learned to play games like kickball and soccer and made friends. Many of those young friends are still my confidants and biggest supporters to this day. Because of brave people, heroes who stepped out to save the lives of children like me, I have had the opportunity to accomplish much in life. I played in the Junior World Cup for soccer as a high schooler, served this country that I love as a tank mechanic in the Army for 8 years. I've been a missionary and lived in Africa. I've traveled to 23 countries as a missionary, soccer coach, speaker, and mentor. I've organized and led around 30 humanitarian and missionary trips to impoverished countries around the world to do medical clinics, sports clinics, and community service projects to help others. I coach high school track, high school soccer, and college lacrosse. I'm a motivational speaker. I own 2 businesses and then the president of a nonprofit called Breaking Boundaries. I'm also the general manager and strength and conditioning coach of the first ever Ugandan women's national lacrosse team, who themselves are making history. They will be the first African team to make it to the World Championships this June, paving the way for women's lacrosse to be added as an event in the 2028 Olympics. Through an unusual set of circumstances, I found my birth mom in Vietnam in 2001. I made the trip back to Vietnam to meet her, which was a very traumatic experience. My mom lived in a tin hut with no running water and no electricity. Seeing her in such poverty was a gut punch to me. For her, I had come back from the dead, and her joy at finding me was a mother's joy. For me, I had never wanted to return to Vietnam, ever, and the trauma of being back destroyed the experience for me. I came back to the US emotionally broken after confronting my past. With the help of my friend Jody, I went through the process of healing from a life as a small child and the things I had seen. In 2009, Jody accompanied me back to Vietnam, where we went to all the places that I remembered seeing and experiencing traumas. The last place we ended up was at the airport where I flew out. I thought of all the children who hadn't made it out of Vietnam to safety, and about all those children that had died on the plane the day before I left. I stood at the airport and I cried for all of those children. At that moment, God gave me a vision of an angel taking my hand and leading me down off that plane and holding my hand and leading me up the steps of the Pan Am plane the next day. God reminded me that He saved my life for a reason and that my life had purpose. In 2020, I found my father's side of the family and now have found 8 half-sisters. One just lives 4 hours away from me, and we have become very close. I now have numerous nieces and nephews, and I even have 2 grandnieces and a grandnephew, which makes me feel very old. I would probably have died in that war-torn country as a 5-year-old, and nothing in my life would have been possible if it were not for Operation Babylift. I urge everyone to be a positive light to others. Make a difference in your part of the world. Whether you are a stay-at-home mom, raising your children, a school teacher, a coach, a pilot, a nurse, whatever you do in life, do it well, and do it to positively influence those around you. Your sacrifices pave the way to save lives. You might one day be saving the life of a little Twee. Thank you to the managers, the pilots, the crews, the nurses, the doctors, and everyone else who participated in Operation Babylift, despite the danger to themselves. Thank you for giving my life of adventure and service to others. And may we never forget the sacrifices you made to save us. Thank you.
Thank you, Twee. And I really don't know of more powerful statements than the last 2 that we just heard from Carol and Twee. So I thank them and thank all of the adoptees who are here tonight, because your stories are remarkable and you are remarkable individuals. Thank you. We are now going to hear from the other side of the spectrum, adoptive parent Lana Mae Noon. Lana?